Dr. Zethkar adjusted his blue scales as he looked over the morning schedule displayed on his desk screen. The tall alien veterinarian had been working on Station Harmony for 12 years now, and he had seen almost every type of creature that traveled through the galaxy. His clinic was the best on the station, with clean white walls, advanced medical equipment, and a waiting room that could accommodate beings of all sizes and atmospheric needs. The morning started like any other. A family of crystalline Zephyrite brought in their pet rock creature that had stopped glowing, Mrs. Valtara, a gas-based nebulan, floated in with her young offspring who had developed a strange color change in their vapor form. Dr. Zethkar treated each patient with care and skill, his forearms moving efficiently as he worked with his various medical instruments. His assistant, Pip, was a small Glorthian with purple fur and large eyes that seemed to take up half of his face. Pip had been working at the clinic for 3 years and was very good at calming nervous patients. He moved around the clinic on his 6 legs, organizing supplies and updating patient files on his portable datapad. The clinic's peaceful atmosphere was broken when the communication system crackled to life. The voice of station control filled the room with urgent tones. Dr. Zethkar, we have an emergency medical request from the UES Liberty. They are requesting immediate veterinary assistance for what they describe as a companion animal emergency. Dr. Zethkar's head crest raised slightly. The UES Liberty was a human transport ship that had docked only an hour ago. He had never treated a human companion animal before, though he had read about various species that different races kept as pets. Most were small, harmless creatures that provided emotional comfort to their owners. Tell them to bring the animal to the clinic immediately, Dr. Zethkar replied, already moving to prepare one of his examination rooms. Pip scurried over, his large eyes blinking rapidly. Doctor, what kind of animal do humans keep as companions? I am not entirely certain, Dr. Zethkar admitted, checking his medical supplies. But I imagine it cannot be too different from other species' companion animals. Probably something small and gentle. The waiting room held its usual mix of alien species. The Zephyrite family sat quietly in their crystalline forms, their rock creature now glowing softly after treatment. Mrs. Valtara's offspring had returned to their normal blue vapor color and were playing happily in their containment sphere. A group of insectoid Crelians waited with their hive pet, which looked like a small, buzzing cloud of tiny flying creatures. The peaceful scene was shattered when the clinic doors slid open with a soft hiss. A human male stepped through, and Dr. Zethkar got his first close look at one of these strange bipedal creatures. The human was tall, with dark hair, and wearing what appeared to be a simple blue uniform. He seemed calm and relaxed, which Dr. Zethkar found reassuring. Then Dr. Zethkar saw what the human was holding, and his blood went cold. At the end of a thick rope was the most terrifying creature Dr. Zethkar had ever seen. The beast stood on 4 powerful legs, its muscular body covered in golden fur that seemed to shimmer under the clinic's lights. Its head was large and broad, with a long snout filled with sharp white teeth. But most terrifying of all were its eyes, bright yellow and alert, constantly scanning the room like a predator searching for prey. The creature was massive, easily weighing as much as a full-grown Glorthian. Its chest was broad and deep, suggesting incredible lung capacity and stamina. Its legs were thick and muscled, built for speed and power. Dr. Zethkar could see the creature's claws as it walked, each one looking sharp enough to tear through metal. A low, rumbling sound came from deep in the creature's chest. It was a sound that every intelligent being in the galaxy recognized instantly, the growl of a predator. The sound triggered every survival instinct that Dr. Zethkar possessed, and he fought the urge to run. The effect on the other patients was immediate and dramatic. The Zephyrite family's crystalline forms began to dim with fear, and they quickly gathered their pet rock and moved toward the far corner of the waiting room. Mrs. Valtara's gaseous form compressed into a tight ball, and her offspring began to emit high-pitched whistles of distress. The Crelians' reaction was the most extreme. Their hive pet immediately scattered, filling the air with tiny buzzing creatures that flew in panic circles around the ceiling. The Krelians themselves began clicking rapidly in their language, a sound that Dr. Zethkar recognized as an alarm. Call? Pip let out a small squeak and dove behind the reception desk, his datapad clattering to the floor. Only his large purple eyes were visible as he peered over the top of the desk. His whole body shaking with fear, the human seemed completely unaware of the terror he had brought into the clinic. He walked calmly to the reception desk, the massive predator walking beside him as if it were the most natural thing in the world. The creature's yellow eyes swept the room, taking in every detail with the focused attention of a hunter. "Hello," the human said in a friendly voice. "I'm Jake Morrison from the UES Liberty. I called about my companion animal needing medical attention." Dr. Zethkar stared at the human in disbelief. This creature was not a companion animal, it was clearly a killing machine. Every instinct in his body screamed at him to activate the emergency containment fields and call station security. The predator's size, build, and behavior all indicated that it was an apex predator, the type of creature that sat at the top of the food chain on whatever death world it came from. I am Dr. Zethkar," he managed to say, his voice shaking, despite his efforts to remain professional. "What exactly is the nature of the medical emergency?" Jake looked down at the creature beside him with obvious affection. "Rex has been limping for the past 2 days. I think he might have stepped on something sharp during our last planetary stop. He's trying to hide it, but I can tell his front right paw is bothering him." Dr. Zethkar looked at the creature that Jake had called Rex. The predator was indeed favoring one of its front paws, holding it slightly off the ground. But what struck Dr. Zethkar most was the way the creature looked at Jake, instead of the cold, calculating stare of a predator. Rex's yellow eyes held something else, something that looked almost like trust and affection. "Please, you have to help him," Jake continued, his voice filled with genuine concern. "He's been my partner for 8 years, and I hate seeing him in pain." Rex made another low rumbling sound, and Dr. Zethkar flinched, but Jake simply reached down and scratched behind the creature's ears, an action that would have resulted in the loss of limbs for any other species Dr. Zethkar knew. Instead, Rex seemed to lean into the touch, his yellow eyes closing slightly. "I know, buddy," Jake said softly. "The nice doctor is going to make your paw feel better." Dr. Zethkar realized that despite his terror, he was witnessing something extraordinary. This human was not just controlling a dangerous predator, he was communicating with it, caring for it, treating it as if it were a beloved family member. The implications of this relationship were staggering and completely outside Dr. Zethkar's understanding of how intelligent species interacted with predators. The waiting room had become completely silent except for the quiet buzzing of the scattered Krelian hive pets still circling the ceiling. Every alien in the room was watching the scene unfold with a mixture of fear and fascination. Dr. Zethkar took a deep breath and tried to summon his professional composure. He had sworn an oath to help all creatures in need, regardless of species or origin. Even if this creature terrified him more than anything he had ever encountered, he had a duty to provide medical care. "Very well," he said, his voice still shaking. "Please bring Rex into examination room 3. I will see what I can do to help him." Dr. Zethkar led Jake and Rex into examination room 3, his forearms trembling as he activated the room's medical systems. The white walls hummed softly as the advanced diagnostic equipment came online. The examination table in the center of the room was designed to accommodate creatures of various sizes, but Dr. Zethkar had never imagined he would need it for something as terrifying as the predator that now stood before him. Jake helped Rex up onto the table with gentle hands, speaking in soothing tones. "Up you go, boy. I know you don't like the vet, but we need to get that paw looked at." Rex settled onto the table with surprising grace for such a large creature. His yellow eyes continued to scan the room, taking in every detail with the focused attention that Dr. Zethkar recognized as predatory awareness. The alien veterinarian noticed that Rex's ears were constantly moving, swiveling to catch every sound in the room. This was clearly a creature designed for hunting. "What exactly is Rex's species?" Dr. Zethkar asked, trying to keep his voice steady as he approached the examination table. His medical scanner beeped softly in his upper right hand. "He's a golden retriever," Jake replied, as if that explained everything. "They're originally from Earth, but they've been human companions for thousands of years." Dr. Zethkar activated his scanner and pointed it at Rex from what he hoped was a safe distance. The readings that appeared on the small screen made his scales turn pale. The creature's bite force registered at over 300 pounds per square inch, enough to crush bone with ease. His reflexes were enhanced far beyond what Dr. Zethkar had seen in any creature, and his muscle density suggested incredible strength and endurance. "These readings," Dr. Zethkar whispered, staring at his scanner in disbelief. "This creature could take down prey 3 times his size." Jake looked confused. "Take down prey?" "Rex wouldn't hurt a fly." "Well, actually, he's terrified of flies, and vacuum cleaners, and thunderstorms." As if to prove Jake's point, Rex made a small whimpering sound and tried to move closer to his human companion. The sound was so pathetic and needy that Dr. Zethkar almost forgot how dangerous the creature was. Almost. "I need to examine his paw," Dr. Zethkar said, gathering his courage. Can you restrain him?" Jake laughed, a sound that seemed incredibly out of place given the situation. "Restrain him?" "Rex, show the doctor your paw." To Dr. Zethkar's amazement, Rex immediately lifted his injured front paw and held it steady. The alien veterinarian approached slowly, his scanner still, reading the creature's vital signs. Rex's heart rate was elevated but not dangerously so, and his stress hormones showed only mild anxiety, the kind of levels Dr. Zethkar saw in nervous but cooperative patients. Dr. Zethkar examined the paw with his most sensitive instruments. The pads were tough and scarred, evidence of a life spent running on various terrains. Between the toes of the injured paw, he could see a small puncture wound with something dark embedded within it. "There appears to be a foreign object in the paw pad," Dr. Zethkar reported, his professional training taking over despite his fear. "It looks like a thorn or splinter of some kind." "Poor guy," Jake said, gently stroking Rex's head. "You've been walking on that for 2 days, haven't you?" Rex made another soft whimpering sound and looked at Jake with those unsettling yellow eyes. But instead of the cold calculation Dr. Zethkar expected from a predator, he saw something else entirely. There was trust in those eyes and what could only be described as love. "I will need to remove the object," Dr. Zethkar said, reaching for his surgical tools. "It is a simple procedure, but I must warn you that even the gentlest creatures can become aggressive when in pain." Jake nodded. "I'll hold him steady. Rex is actually pretty good at the vet. He knows you're trying to help." Dr. Zethkar selected his smallest extraction tool and approached Rex's paw. The creature watched him with those intense yellow eyes, but made no move to pull away. Dr. Zethkar's hands were shaking so badly that he nearly dropped the instrument. "Take your time, Doc," Jake said calmly. "Rex won't hurt you." Dr. Zethkar found the confidence in Jake's voice both reassuring and terrifying. How could this human be so certain that a predator of this size and capability wouldn't attack when in pain? It went against everything Dr. Zethkar knew about predator behavior. He carefully positioned the extraction tool around the embedded thorn. Rex's muscles tensed, and Dr. Zethkar froze, certain that the creature was about to strike. But instead of attacking, Rex simply let out a small whine and looked pleadingly at Jake. "I know it hurts, buddy," Jake said softly. "But we're almost done. You're being such a good boy." Dr. Zethkar carefully pulled the thorn from Rex's paw. It was longer than he had expected, nearly an inch of sharp plant material that had been embedded deep in the soft tissue. Rex flinched when it came out, but instead of snapping at Dr. Zethkar, he simply pressed closer to Jake. "All done, Doctor," Zethkar announced, surprised by his own success. "I will apply a healing gel and bandage the wound. It should heal completely within a few days." As Dr. Zethkar worked, he noticed something strange about Jake's own vital signs. His medical scanner, which was sensitive enough to read the life signs of any creature in the room, showed that Jake's stress hormones were completely normal. His heart rate was steady, his breathing relaxed. The human showed no fear response whatsoever to the dangerous predator beside him. "How do you remain so calm?" Dr. Zethkar asked as he applied the healing gel to Rex's paw. "Are humans not afraid of predators?" Jake looked genuinely puzzled. "Afraid of Rex? Why would I be afraid of him? He's my best friend. We've been together since he was 8 weeks old." "But surely you understand how dangerous he is," Dr. Zethkar pressed. "My scanner readings show that he has all the capabilities of an apex predator. He could easily kill you if he chose to." "Kill me?" Jake laughed again. "Doc, Rex once ran away from a butterfly because it flew too close to his face. He's about as dangerous as a stuffed toy." Dr. Zethkar finished bandaging Rex's paw and stepped back. The procedure was complete, but he found himself more confused than ever. Every instinct told him that Rex was a deadly predator, but the creature's behavior suggested otherwise. Rex had been completely cooperative throughout the examination, showing no aggression despite being in pain. "There," Dr. Zethkar said, "the wound is cleaned and bandaged. Keep the paw dry for the next few days and remove the bandage once the healing gel has been absorbed." Jake examined the bandage with obvious relief. "Thank you so much, Doctor. You've been wonderful. Rex, what do you say to the nice doctor?" To Dr. Zethkar's shock, Rex made a sound that was completely different from his earlier growls. It was a soft, almost musical whine that seemed to express gratitude. The creature's tail, which Dr. Zethkar had assumed was a weapon, began to move back and forth in what looked like a friendly gesture. "He's saying thank you," Jake explained. "Rex is very polite. He always thanks his doctors." Dr. Zethkar stared at the creature in bewilderment. In his 12 years of practice, he had never encountered anything like this. Rex had all the physical capabilities of a perfect killing machine, but he behaved like the gentlest companion animal Dr. Zethkar had ever treated. "I must ask," Dr. Zethkar said carefully, "how is it possible that your species has formed such a bond with a predator? On my world, we fled from creatures like this. We certainly never invited them into our homes." Jake's expression grew thoughtful. "I guess it's hard to explain if you haven't grown up around dogs. Rex isn't just a pet. He's family. He sleeps in my bed, eats at my table, and goes everywhere I go. I trust him completely, and he trusts me." Rex seemed to understand that they were talking about him. He looked back and forth between Jake and Dr. Zethkar, his tail still moving in that strange back-and-forth motion. Then he did something that made Dr. Zethkar's heart skip a beat. The terrifying predator rolled over onto his back, exposing his vulnerable belly to both of them. His legs stuck up in the air, and he looked completely ridiculous. It was the ultimate display of trust and submission, and it came from a creature that could have easily dominated both of them. "He wants belly rubs," Jake said, reaching down to scratch Rex's exposed stomach. "This is his favorite thing in the whole universe." Dr. Zethkar watched in amazement as the fearsome predator closed his eyes in bliss, his powerful legs kicking slightly in the air as Jake rubbed his belly. It was the most bizarre and wonderful thing the alien veterinarian had ever witnessed. As Dr. Zethkar finished securing the bandage around Rex's paw, the large creature suddenly whimpered and tried to pull his leg away. The alien veterinarian jumped back, expecting an attack, but Rex simply looked at his bandaged paw with what could only be described as disappointment. "Oh, you don't like the bandage, do you?" Jake said, noticing Rex's expression. "I know it feels weird, buddy, but it's going to help your paw get better." Rex looked up at Jake with those piercing yellow eyes, and Dr. Zethkar was shocked to see what appeared to be genuine sadness in them. The creature's ears drooped down, and he made a soft whining sound that tugged at something deep in the alien veterinarian's chest. "He looks upset," Dr. Zethkar observed, his voice filled with wonder. "He hates anything on his feet," Jake explained. "Rex has always been fussy about his paws. When he was a puppy, he used to sit down and refuse to walk if his feet got muddy." Dr. Zethkar watched as Rex continued to stare at his bandaged paw with obvious displeasure. The creature's tail had stopped wagging, and his whole body language suggested that he was deeply unhappy with the situation. "Perhaps," Jake said, reaching into his pocket. A little treat would help him feel better about this. Dr. Zethkar tensed as Jake pulled out a small brown object. In the alien veterinarian's experience, feeding time was when predators were most dangerous. Their hunting instincts were strongest when food was involved, and even the most docile creatures could become aggressive when hungry. "What is that?" Dr. Zethkar asked, his voice tight with worry. "It's a dog treat," Jake replied casually. "Rex loves these. They're bacon-flavored." Jake held the small brown square in front of Rex's nose. The creature's reaction was immediate and startling. His ears perked up, his tail began moving frantically, and he made a series of excited whimpering sounds. But instead of snatching the treat aggressively, Rex sat perfectly still and looked at Jake with hopeful eyes. "Good boy," Jake said approvingly. "Now take it gently." Rex opened his massive jaws, revealing rows of sharp white teeth that could easily tear through flesh and bone. Dr. Zethkar held his breath, certain that those dangerous jaws would snap shut on Jake's fingers. Instead, Rex took the treat with incredible gentleness, barely touching Jake's hand with his teeth. The transformation in Rex's behavior was remarkable. The moment he began chewing the treat, his tail wagged so hard that his entire back end moved with it. His eyes closed in obvious pleasure, and he made soft, happy sounds as he enjoyed his snack. "He seems to really enjoy that," Dr. Zethkar said, amazed by the complete change in the creature's demeanor. "Oh, Rex is very food-motivated," Jake said with a laugh. "He knows the sound of the treat bag from 3 rooms away. Sometimes I think he loves food more than he loves me." Rex finished his treat and immediately looked at Jake with hopeful eyes, clearly asking for another one. His tail continued to wag, and he made a small whining sound that seemed to say, "Please." "Just one more," Jake said, pulling out another treat. "But you have to do a trick first. Rex, sit." To Dr. Zethkar's amazement, Rex immediately moved into a sitting position. His powerful haunches folded beneath him, and he held his head high with obvious pride. The predator that had terrified every alien in the waiting room was now performing tricks for food. "Good boy. Now shake hands." Rex lifted his uninjured paw and placed it in Jake's outstretched hand. The gentle way he did it, carefully avoiding. His claws showed incredible control and training. Dr. Zethkar had never seen a predator display such precise, deliberate movements. "Excellent," Jake said, giving Rex the second treat. "You're such a smart boy." Rex's response to the praise was even more dramatic than his reaction to the food. His whole body seemed to vibrate with joy, and he made happy whimpering sounds while his tail wagged so hard it created a small breeze in the examination room. "He seems to enjoy your approval even more than the treats," Dr. Zethkar observed. "Dogs are pack animals," Jake explained. "Rex wants to make me happy more than anything else in the world. That's just how his species evolved." Dr. Zethkar was beginning to understand something important about the relationship between Jake and Rex. This wasn't a human controlling a predator through fear or force. It was a genuine partnership based on mutual affection and trust. "May I ask you something?" Dr. Zethkar said carefully. "What does Rex do when he is not receiving medical treatment? What is his daily routine?" Jake's face lit up with obvious love and pride. "Well, he wakes up every morning at exactly 6:30 and brings me my slippers. Then he waits patiently while I get dressed, and we go for our morning walk around the ship. After breakfast, he usually takes a nap in his favorite sunny spot near the observation deck." "He has a favorite spot?" Dr. Zethkar asked, fascinated by this glimpse into the creature's daily life. "Oh yes, Rex is very particular about his comfort. He has 3 different beds around the ship, depending on the time of day and his mood. His nighttime bed is the softest, his afternoon nap bed is in the warmest spot, and his morning bed is right next to the food dispenser." Dr. Zethkar tried to imagine this fearsome predator, carefully choosing between different sleeping locations based on comfort and mood. It was such a civilized, almost intelligent behavior that it challenged everything he thought he knew about predators. "What about his meals?" Dr. Zethkar continued, his scientific curiosity overriding his fear. "Rex is very spoiled when it comes to food. Jake admitted with a sheepish grin. He has his own special bowl that says Rex on it, and he won't eat from anything else. He also insists on eating at the same time every day. If his dinner is even 15 minutes late, he sits by his bowl and gives me the saddest look you've ever seen. As if to demonstrate, Rex suddenly sat down and looked at Jake with an expression that could only be described as pitiful. His ears drooped, his eyes became wide and sad, and he tilted his head to one side in a way that made him look incredibly innocent and helpless. "Like that?" Jake said, laughing. "That's his 'I'm starving and you're a terrible person for not feeding me' face. He uses it whenever he wants something." Dr. Zethkar stared at Rex in amazement. The creature was clearly manipulating Jake's emotions to get what he wanted. But instead of using aggression or intimidation like a typical predator, Rex was using what could only be called emotional manipulation. He was making himself appear pitiful and needy to trigger Jake's protective instincts. "Does that expression actually work?" Dr. Zethkar asked. "Every single time," Jake admitted. "I know he's not really starving, but I can't resist that face. Rex has trained me way better than I've trained him." Rex seemed to understand that his manipulation had been successful. His sad expression immediately changed to one of joy, and his tail began wagging again. He had gotten the attention he wanted from both Jake and Dr. Zethkar. "This is extraordinary," Dr. Zethkar said, his scientific mind racing. "Rex is not just a domesticated predator. He's a social creature who has learned to communicate with humans using emotional cues. He's actually quite intelligent, isn't he?" "Dogs are very smart," Jake agreed. "Rex knows about 50 different words and he can solve simple problems. He's also incredibly good at reading human emotions. If I'm sad, he'll come and put his head on my lap. If I'm happy, he gets excited too. If I'm angry, he becomes very quiet and careful until I calm down." Dr. Zethkar looked at Rex with new eyes. This wasn't just a tamed predator. This was a creature who had evolved alongside humans for thousands of years, developing the ability to understand and respond to human emotions. Rex wasn't just Jake's companion, he was his partner in an ancient relationship that had shaped both species. "How many humans have companions like Rex?" Dr. Zethkar asked. "Most of us," Jake replied. "Dogs have been part of human families for so long that we can't imagine life without them. Some humans prefer other animals, cats, birds, even reptiles. But dogs are probably the most common." Rex had been listening to their conversation with obvious interest. Now he stood up, walked over to Dr. Zethkar, and sat down directly in front of him. The alien veterinarian tensed, but Rex simply looked up at him with those intelligent yellow eyes and wagged his tail slowly. "He likes you," Jake said. "Rex is a good judge of character. He can tell that you helped him." Dr. Zethkar looked down at Rex, seeing him clearly for the first time. This wasn't a monster or a killing machine. This was a friend, a companion, a family member who happened to be a different species. The revelation was both simple and profound, and it changed everything. Dr. Zethkar thought he knew about humans and their relationship with the natural world. Dr. Zethkar found himself staring at Rex with completely new eyes. The creature that had terrified him just an hour ago was now sitting calmly beside the examination table, his tail wagging gently as he looked between Jake and the alien veterinarian. The transformation in Dr. Zethkar's understanding was so complete that he felt dizzy. "I must confess," Dr. Zethkar said slowly, "that I am having difficulty understanding what I am witnessing. Rex has all the physical characteristics of an apex predator, yet he behaves like the most gentle creature I have ever encountered. How is this possible?" Jake leaned against the examination table, clearly enjoying the opportunity to explain something he was passionate about. "It's called domestication. Over thousands of years, humans have selectively bred certain animals to live alongside us. We chose the friendliest, most cooperative individuals to have offspring. And over many generations, we created animals that are naturally inclined to trust and cooperate with humans. But surely the aggressive instincts remain?" Dr. Zethkar pressed, My scanner readings show that Rex retains all the physical capabilities of a predator. Oh, they do, Jake agreed. If someone threatened me, Rex would definitely try to protect me. But he's been trained from birth to understand that humans are not prey. In fact, protecting humans is one of his strongest instincts now. As if to demonstrate Jake's point, Rex suddenly stood up and moved closer to Dr. Zethkar. The alien veterinarian tensed, but Rex simply sniffed his hand gently and then sat down again. His tail continued to wag, and he made a soft, friendly, whimpering sound. He's trying to make friends with you, Jake explained. Rex likes meeting new people. He's naturally social. Dr. Zethkar looked down at Rex with wonder. You mean he actually enjoys the company of other species? Even species he has never encountered before? Absolutely. Dogs are pack animals by nature. They're happiest when they're part of a group. Rex considers every friendly person he meets to be a potential pack member. The concept was so alien to Dr. Zethkar that he struggled to process it. On his homeworld, predators were solitary creatures that avoided contact with other species unless they were hunting. The idea of a predator actively seeking social interaction was revolutionary. What other animals do humans live with? The doctor, Zethkar asked. His scientific curiosity fully engaged, Jake pulled out a small device from his pocket and activated a holographic display. Images began to appear in the air between them, showing various Earth animals in domestic settings. Well, there are cats, Jake said, showing an image of a smaller feline creature. They're hunters too, but they're more independent than dogs. They show affection differently, but they can be just as loving as Rex. The hologram showed a cat sitting on a human's lap, purring contentedly while being petted. Dr. Zethkar noticed that the cat's claws were visible, and its teeth looked sharp enough to cause serious damage. And birds, Jake continued, changing the image to show a colorful parrot perched on a human's shoulder. Some of them can actually learn to speak human languages. They're incredibly intelligent and can live for decades. Dr. Zethkar watched in amazement as the holographic bird appeared to be having a conversation with its human companion. The implications were staggering. Humans didn't just domesticate one species. They had formed bonds with multiple types of animals, each with their own unique characteristics and abilities. What about larger animals? Dr. Zethkar asked, fascinated by the display. Horses are probably the most impressive, Jake replied, showing an image of a massive four-legged creature with a human riding on its back. They're incredibly strong and fast, but they've been working with humans for thousands of years. They can carry us, pull heavy loads, and even participate in sports. The image showed a horse and rider jumping over a high fence with perfect coordination. Dr. Zethkar could see the trust and communication between the two species in the way they moved together. Some humans even keep reptiles and amphibians, Jake continued, showing images of various scaled and smooth-skinned creatures. They're not as social as dogs or cats, but they can still form bonds with their human families. Dr. Zethkar was overwhelmed by the variety of relationships humans had formed with other species. It seemed that no creature was too strange or dangerous for humans to attempt to befriend. How do you choose which animals to live with? Dr. Zethkar asked. It depends on the person, Jake replied. Some people prefer active animals like dogs that need lots of exercise and attention. Others prefer cats that are more independent. Some people love the challenge of training birds or the quiet presence of reptiles. Rex had been listening to their conversation with obvious interest. Now he walked over to Jake and placed his large head on his human's leg. Jake automatically began scratching behind Rex's ears, an action that seemed as natural as breathing. Rex chose me as much as I chose him, Jake said fondly. When I went to select a puppy, he was the one who ran straight to me and fell asleep in my arms. I knew right then that we were meant to be together. Dr. Zethkar watched the interaction between Jake and Rex with growing understanding. This wasn't just a human keeping a pet. It was a genuine emotional bond between two different species. They clearly cared for each other deeply. What happens when Rex gets old? Dr. Zethkar asked, suddenly struck by the reality of different lifespans. Jake's expression grew sad. Dogs don't live as long as humans. Rex is 8 years old now, which means he's probably got maybe 6 or 7 more years. It's the hardest part of loving an animal, knowing that you'll likely outlive them. But humans continue to form these bonds despite knowing they will end in loss? Of course, Jake said simply. The joy and love they bring to our lives is worth the eventual sadness. Rex has made every day of the last 8 years better just by being part of it. Dr. Zethkar was beginning to understand something profound about human nature. They were willing to form deep emotional connections with other species, even knowing that those connections would cause them pain when they ended. It suggested a level of emotional courage that Dr. Zethkar had never encountered before. Do all humans feel this way about their animal companions? Dr. Zethkar asked. Most of us do, Jake replied. There are some humans who don't connect with animals the same way, but they're in the minority. For most humans, having an animal companion is one of life's greatest pleasures. Rex seemed to sense that they were talking about something serious. He moved closer to Jake and leaned against his leg, offering comfort in the way that only a devoted companion could. Jake smiled down at him and continued petting his golden fur. The relationship goes both ways, Jake continued. Rex needs me to take care of him, but I need him too. He makes me laugh when I'm sad, gives me a reason to exercise, and provides unconditional love no matter what kind of day I've had. Dr. Zethkar observed the quiet moment between Jake and Rex, seeing the deep bond that existed between them. It was unlike anything in his experience, yet it felt natural and right. This is why Rex behaves so differently from wild predators, Dr. Zethkar said, understanding finally dawning on him. He has been bred and trained to be a companion, not a hunter. Exactly, Jake said. Rex's ancestors were wolves, which are, indeed, fierce predators. But thousands of years of selective breeding have created an animal that is naturally inclined to love and trust humans. He's still physically capable of hunting, but his instincts have been changed to make him want to protect and please his human family instead. Rex looked up at Dr. Zethkar as if he understood the conversation. His tail wagged slowly, and he made a soft sound that seemed almost like agreement. The alien veterinarian realized that he was looking at the result of one of the most remarkable evolutionary partnerships in the galaxy, two species that had chosen to evolve together, each becoming better because of their relationship with the other. It's beautiful, Dr. Zethkar said quietly, and he meant it. The bond between Jake and Rex represented something wonderful and unique in the universe. Proof that love and trust could overcome the natural barriers between species? Word traveled fast through Station Harmony's communication networks. Within an hour of Jake and Rex's visit to the veterinary clinic, aliens from all over the station began arriving to witness what they had heard described as the impossible human-predator bond. Dr. Zethkar found his waiting room filling with curious beings from dozens of different species, all wanting to see the terrifying creature that behaved like a gentle companion. The first to arrive were the Krelians whose hive pet had scattered during Rex's initial entrance. They approached cautiously, their insectoid forms clicking nervously as they moved. Their leader, a large Krelian named Buzztack, spoke in his species' rapid clicking language. He wants to know if it's safe to bring the younglings. Pip translated from behind the reception desk, where he had finally found the courage to emerge from his hiding spot. Jake looked down at Rex, who was lying peacefully on the floor with his bandaged paw stretched out in front of him. Rex loves children, Jake said with a smile. He's very gentle with anyone smaller than him. Dr. Zethkar watched in amazement as the Krelian younglings were brought forward. They were tiny creatures, no bigger than Rex's paw, with delicate wings and large, curious eyes. Rex noticed them immediately and slowly lowered his head to the ground, making himself appear less threatening. The younglings approached carefully, their wings buzzing with nervous energy. Rex remained perfectly still, allowing them to examine him up close. One brave youngling reached out and touched Rex's nose with a tiny appendage. Rex's tail wagged gently, and he made a soft, friendly sound that seemed to reassure the small creatures. Remarkable, Dr. Zethkar muttered, making notes on his datapad. Rex is instinctively adjusting his behavior to accommodate creatures much smaller and more vulnerable than himself. More aliens continued to arrive. The Zephyrite family returned with their pet rock creature, curious to see how Rex would react to their mineral-based companion. Mrs. Valtara floated in with her gaseous offspring, who had changed to a brave orange color instead of their earlier fearful blue. Jake seemed to enjoy playing the role of teacher. He patiently explained Rex's behavior to each new group of aliens, demonstrating various commands and tricks. Rex, for his part, seemed to understand that he was on display and performed each request with obvious pride. "Rex, shake hands with Dr. Zethkar," Jake said. Wanting to show how well-trained his companion was, Rex immediately stood up and walked over to Dr. Zethkar, carefully lifting his uninjured paw. The alien veterinarian hesitantly extended one of his 4 hands, and Rex gently placed his paw in it. The touch was warm and soft, nothing like the deadly weapon Dr. Zethkar had imagined. "He's so warm," Dr. Zethkar said with wonder. "I had not expected that. Dogs are mammals," Jake explained. "They regulate their body temperature internally, just like humans do. Rex actually runs a bit warmer than I do, which is why he makes such a good sleeping companion on cold nights." A new voice spoke up from the back of the crowd. "Jake, is that you making all this noise?" Dr. Zethkar turned to see another human entering the clinic. This one was smaller than Jake, with long, dark hair and wearing a similar blue uniform. She was carrying a much smaller creature in her arms, a sleek, 4-legged animal with pointed ears and bright green eyes. "Lucy," Jake said with a grin. "Perfect timing." "Everyone, this is Lucy Martinez, our ship's communications officer." "And that's Whiskers, her cat." The assembled aliens turned their attention to the new arrival. Whiskers was significantly smaller than Rex, but Dr. Zethkar's scanner immediately registered similar predatory characteristics. The cat's eyes were designed for hunting, its claws were sharp and retractable, and its muscles were built for stealth and speed. "I heard there was some kind of emergency," Lucy said, looking around at the crowd of aliens. "But it looks more like a party." "Rex hurt his paw," Jake explained. "Dr. Zethkar here fixed him right up. Now everyone wants to meet him." Lucy set Whiskers down on the floor, and Dr. Zethkar tensed, expecting the 2 predators to fight. Instead, Rex immediately lowered himself to the ground and began wagging his tail in a friendly manner. Whiskers approached cautiously, sniffed Rex's nose, and then began making a loud, rumbling sound that vibrated through his entire body. "He's purring," Lucy explained to the confused aliens. "That means he's happy and relaxed. Cats purr when they're content." Dr. Zethkar watched in fascination as the 2 predators interacted. Instead of competition or aggression, they displayed what could only be described as friendship. Rex gently licked the top of Whiskers' head, and the cat rubbed against Rex's large face affectionately. "They've been friends since Whiskers was a kitten," Jake said. "Rex helped raise him when Lucy first brought him aboard our ship." Another human arrived, this one carrying a brightly colored bird on his shoulder. The bird was smaller than either Rex or Whiskers, but its sharp beak and intelligent eyes marked it as another predator. "What's all the excitement about?" the new human asked. He was introduced as Danny Rodriguez, the ship's engineer, and his bird companion was named Kiwi. "Hello there," Kiwi said suddenly, causing several aliens to jump in surprise. "Pretty bird, pretty bird. Did that creature just speak?" Mrs. Valtara asked, her gaseous form swirling with amazement. "Kiwi can say about 30 different words," Danny said proudly. "He's very smart." "Kiwi, can you say hello to our new friends?" "Hello, friends," Kiwi said clearly. "Good bird, good bird." Dr. Zethkar was overwhelmed by the display. Here were 3 different predator species, all living peacefully together with their human companions. It challenged everything he thought he knew about predator behavior and interspecies relationships. "This is incredible," Dr. Zethkar said, addressing the 3 humans. "You have created a multi-species family group. How do you manage the competing instincts and territorial behaviors? They're not competing, Lucy explained. They're all part of the same pack. Rex is the biggest, so he's kind of the protective big brother. Whiskers is the hunter who keeps the ship free of pests. And Kiwi is our alarm system. He alerts us to anything unusual. Each animal has a role, Jake added. They're not just pets, they're working members of our crew. Rex provides emotional support and companionship. Whiskers keeps us free of vermin. Kiwi helps with communication and entertainment. Dr. Zethkar began to understand that this was not just about domestication, it was about integration. These humans had not simply tamed these predators. They had created a functional society that included multiple species working together for mutual benefit. How common is this among humans? Dr. Zethkar asked. Very common, Danny replied. Most human ships have at least one animal companion. Some have many more. It's considered normal and healthy. Rex had been lying quietly during the conversation, but now he suddenly stood up and walked over to Dr. Zethkar, the alien veterinarian. No longer felt afraid as the large creature approached. Instead, he felt curious and honored. Rex sat down directly in front of Dr. Zethkar and held out his uninjured paw. The alien veterinarian understood the gesture and gently shook the offered paw. Rex's tail wagged enthusiastically, and he made a happy whimpering sound. He's thanking you, Jake said with obvious pride. Rex always thanks the people who help him. Dr. Zethkar felt something warm and unfamiliar in his chest. He realized that he had formed a connection with Rex, despite their species differences. The feeling was both strange and wonderful. I believe I understand now, Dr. Zethkar said slowly. This is not about humans controlling predators. This is about humans forming genuine relationships with other species. You have created something unique in the galaxy, a true multi-species society based on mutual respect and affection. That's exactly right, Jake said. We're not owners and pets, we're family. As the day came to an end, Dr. Zethkar found himself sad to see the humans and their animal companions leave. Rex gave him one final friendly tail wag before following Jake out of the clinic. Whiskers rubbed against Dr. Zethkar's legs affectionately, and Kiwi called out, "Goodbye, Doc." As Danny carried him away, Dr. Zethkar sat down at his desk and began writing his report to the Galactic Veterinary Association. He recommended immediate changes to protocols for treating human companion animals, emphasizing the need to understand the unique nature of the human-animal bond. As he wrote, Dr. Zethkar realized that his encounter with Rex had changed him fundamentally. He had learned that appearances could be deceiving, that predators could become companions, and that love could transcend species boundaries. The humans had shown him something beautiful and profound about the potential for interspecies cooperation. The photo Jake had given him showing Rex as a tiny, adorable puppy sat on his desk as a reminder of the day that had changed his understanding of the universe. Dr. Zethkar smiled, a rare expression for his species, and continued writing his report. He had important news to share with the galaxy about the remarkable humans and their extraordinary capacity for love.